ActiveCampaign campaign. We'll talk about actually sending emails. And I'm just going to tell you what I do, and you can take what you want from it. And we'll just go through a few different examples, and let's dive right in. So inside your ActiveCampaign account, click on the Campaigns tab, and I'm not going to start from scratch. A lot of times what I end up doing is something like this. Save as a template. So I can reuse it, actually duplicate, sorry about that. I duplicate it and then just make modifications. So I guess the point I want to make there is get one set up that you like and use it over and over again. So a lot of these look very similar, and we'll just go into this one, which is currently in draft mode. And I think usually it drops you off where you were last at. So I'm going to go all the way back to type. So we'd normally start here at type, and you have to choose what kind of campaign you want to send out. So you could just send out regular one-off emails. You can set up an autoresponder, and I'll be honest, never have used this inside ActiveCampaign. I typically do everything through an automation if I want to do autoresponder type emails. Definitely use split testing. We usually send out weekly emails, and then we make slight variations or sometimes radical variations just to kind of see what people are responding to. Probably the best thing to test is simply the subject line and then look for opens. But we use that. RSS trigger don't use, but it could be used if you're updating a blog on a regular basis and you basically just want to send out an email based on content being updated. You do need to format the email to get the look and feel that you want. There's not a lot of options and it looks kind of generic, but you can customize it so that you can send out email based on RSS feeds being updated. And there's date-based emails. Again, I haven't done that. Typically do that through an automation. So in this case, this is just a regular standard one-off, and we pick a list or lists that we want to choose from, and then from there you can actually add segments. And for instance, it's basically, what kind of conditions. So this one's going to be a segment of this copy, and then this should look familiar from other things. Do you want to look for a tag? Do they live in a certain location? Have they done something? Whatever. So you can really pick off a real specific segment of your list to send an email to. So this one's good if you want to, for instance, send a one-off email to people that haven't engaged and you have built up some kind of automation that tags people as being unengaged, like at 30, 60, 90 days. You could do something like that. So next step is the design step. And I'll be honest, I don't really like the templates they provide. I typically will get a template that's basically has the builder capabilities, these little blocks. And that's kind of what I like to work with a lot, is simply using these blocks over here, dragging them over, and then doing whatever. So as an example, let me get rid of this guy. If I can get my mouse in the right place, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. They'll just want to make sure, yep, I am sure. One thing I do is font size pretty big, and I also usually do line height of 130% just to put a lot of white space in there so it's pretty darn easy to see. Typically, for me, I think it's Georgia or Veranda, if I remember right. Okay, there it is, Georgia 18, which is pretty big. Usually left justified, and then like I said, 130% for the line height. If you do auto, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't look so hot. And then it definitely gets kind of scrunched up if you do just 100%. So I like to spread it out a little bit. So I put it at 130%. To give it some nice features. And then a lot of times my email has either an image right off the bat or a very short amount of content and an image, and I usually will also make that link so it'll go somewhere. If I put in a screenshot of a video with a little play icon, well, of course, if they click on it, I want them to go to the video. Usually I put images about 600 pixels wide. This one looks like it's got 640, and you can choose from this library that you add to, so just keep adding new images. A little bit slow. When you upload an image, it seems like it takes a while, and it's like, okay, where is it? And then you have to actually go search for it. A little bit of a pain, not too bad, but just be aware of that. And this is just another text block, right? This little thing right here is a text block. Below this, I've made this very small font size, italicized, and centered, and referencing this image. And then down here, I've got this, I've got some links. And if you click on that little link icon, this is something you can do a lot of inside ActiveCampaign. This is a cool feature. Add an action. You can do something if they click on a link. Now, of course, you can do that on an outside automation, but if you really want to do something specific and don't want to use your generic capability in automation on a one-off basis, you can say, you know what, I want to add, remove tags, put them on a list, unsubscribe them, put them in automation or end. It's basically everything that you could do. So definitely a powerful feature there. What else here? So here's another. So now notice this is one big block. This is a text block. Then I've got a bunch of little text blocks. And notice I'm putting people's first name. This is a very small list. I have about 34 people, I think, and I know them all. I send out an email quarterly just to let them know what's going on. But these are conditional blocks. So notice just above here it says will show if email address equals and then the person's email address. So you can make these blocks conditional, and man, that's a little bit hard to see. Again, just like our, the way you can select things is, add a condition. It could be a tag, right? Full name, tag exists, does not exist, and all these custom fields. So basically it's fields, custom fields, and tags. So you can just set up whatever conditions you want so that these conditional blocks show up. There's also in here, and I wish that thing, let me just use this one since it's a little more open, I think. Oh yeah, what the heck, let's just go to the top one and use that. Okay, I guess I should say, you can of course personalize it. These are merge fields. You could say, hey, first name. So like right here, if I want to say their first name, I could just do that, and it's %, first name, %. And there's definitely a lot of fields that you can put in there. And again, you can put in custom code or custom fields in there, and that's actually a powerful one. So for instance, if somebody has custom content, if they have you can put a block of text that is specific to custom fields. And I do that in a different email where I ask people questions. I store their answers in a custom field, and then in the email, I print that back to them so they know what they provided. So yeah, you can personalize it, but I guess the other thing I was going to show you here with that, more formatting basically. But really wanted to show you is the option. So you can make it conditional, which I just showed. You can hide it on mobile devices. So this is a good one to use. If you have a image-heavy email, you might want to hide some of those and not show it on mobile devices. But in general, most mobile devices will render these well. And that's why I like to just use this basic HTML type email, because some of the templates they give you are pretty busy, and it just, in my opinion, kind of gets in the way. So there you go. What else is in here? I've got an image down here, and again, I think it links to somewhere, and we could have it do some kind of action, right? If somebody clicks on that. And by the way, this is an awesome video. Batman Dad. Anyway, so that's what you do design-wise. And then you can save these blocks if you want. Almost never save a block. And those are pretty much the only ones I use. I use the text block, I use the image block, and I'll be honest, sometimes the HTML block. And let me just show you an example of what I would do something like that. I'm just going to shove it right here in the middle. Yeah, right there. And if you click there, you can just paste in the HTML. I'm going to cancel. You can also put it here. I've put in countdown timer HTML code. So let me just show you an example here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some embed code here. And I'm using ActiveCampaign. So I'm just going to copy that guy. Go back here. And then I could paste it here. Actually, I have to paste it here now, I think. Go ahead and save those changes. So that's how you can embed HTML. And this one won't render until it actually gets sent. So that would be one of the only other ones that I use. I don't use this video, and I'll be honest, I think it's garbage if you want my opinion. No one's paying me, but I'm just going to give you. You can do YouTube, probably Vimeo, and let's make sure this is a decent video. Okay. So yeah, you can do that. Again, I think in this case you have to add an action. Now that's a little concerning to me. No, that one actually doesn't. But the thing I don't like is, it just gives you the screenshot. I don't know if I really want this. It's not my size, but I guess I could stretch it, so I can do that. So you can get it super easy to embed a video that way, simply to do that. But I'll be honest, never use that. I've never used the button feature, but honestly, this one to me looks like it could be a pretty good one. If you really want to call out an action, you can change everything here basically, the font size, style, of course, a link that it clicks to, and yes, an action can occur, all that good stuff. So you can customize it to get it a nice looking button, so to speak. Haven't used the social links, but again, I think there is definitely a lot of capability in here. You can basically shove them all in, you can customize them, put in your own links, appropriate for this, and then basically only show the ones you want. So I might turn off website, Pinterest, go ahead and save that. And it's thinking. Okay, we'll just disregard it. It's not thinking, it's wanting me to be sure about what I'm doing. So there we go. And because I don't really want that, I can delete it. Yes, I'm sure. I'm going to say goodbye to this guy too. So yeah, this is kind of my favorite version of the email build they have. I'll be honest, I don't think it's super flexible. It's not like you can design these incredibly well laid out. At least I can't. Let's put it that way. I apologize. I'm sure somebody can. But for ease of use, I find this works well. It's basic HTML template. And then next step is the summary, which is basically, come on, is it going? And you could have added these prior, address, and you definitely want to do this. Send yourself a test email. I don't care whether you made a slight change to something, simply send yourself an email. I recommend opening it both on a desktop and on your mobile device. So you can get the desktop preview here by clicking this. That opens a new window, but still do yourself a favor and send it to maybe multiple email addresses, Yahoo, Outlook, Gmail, whatever. And then they do a little spam check. They actually don't like these free emails to send, so I don't know why I passed completely. You definitely want to follow those recommendations. And then from there, you can either schedule or simply send immediately. And there's definitely power there, right there. It's my time zone, or should be my time zone, date and time. So I am not going to do that. Don't schedule. I am going to save and exit. And then I'll show you one other email I've got queued up, and it's basically a split test. Now this capability is nice. They make it easy to do this. I've got two different versions of this. So when I selected type, I chose split test, and let's go take a look at the design. Right here you can see test 1, test 2. You can have another test, and I forget how many you can have up to, but basically you create 2 emails that you're going to send out and or 2 subjects. So right here you can modify the subject line for each of those, but basically you can do that, and then at the end Is it thinking? And I do this one too. Definitely split test. I forget where the rules are, but we will go find that. And you want to split test and send yourself a test email for each of these again. And again, test out. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, do not determine winner. Just simply do whatever percentage. Oftentimes it's simply 50-50. If you've got a large list of people, you might simply do something like this. And yeah, so this is actually a very powerful feature, and I would recommend this potentially for large lists. And what I would suggest is testing the subject line first. So you want to get the look for either best click rate or best open rate, and test your subject line, and then only allocate, let's say, 20% for that. And as soon as it's determined a winner, then go fire off the rest of the emails, go to that. And yeah, if you wait if it's a time-sensitive email, this might not be appropriate. But if it's something that you don't mind waiting hours, days, or even weeks to get 20% of your people to go through, then this is definitely a worthwhile thing to do, especially if you find that there's a significant difference in your results. So very powerful features are built into ActiveCampaign for split testing emails. You can also do the same thing or something similar in automations, and we can cover that sometime later. So anyways, that's how I send out campaigns in ActiveCampaign.